Hello and welcome. Today we're diving deep into a topic that resonates with so many people: the impact of childhood trauma on adult relationships. Our early experiences profoundly shape who we are and how we connect with others, often in ways we might not even realize. But there's hope. Healing is possible, and understanding is the first step. Let's explore how childhood trauma affects adult relationships, from attachment styles to communication struggles, and discuss strategies for healing and building healthier connections. To begin, what exactly is childhood trauma? Childhood trauma refers to adverse experiences during childhood that overwhelm a child's ability to cope. These experiences can include abuse, neglect, witnessing domestic violence, parental substance abuse, or the loss of a parent. Trauma doesn't have to stem from dramatic events. Even prolonged emotional neglect or invalidation can leave lasting scars. When a child's sense of safety is threatened, their developing brain adapts to survive. The stress response system becomes hyperactive, prioritizing survival over emotional growth. This often leads to long-term consequences, as these adaptations carry into adulthood. One of the most significant ways childhood trauma affects adult relationships is through attachment styles. Attachment theory suggests that our early relationships with caregivers form the blueprint for how we connect with others later in life. Let's briefly look at the four main attachment styles. Secure attachment, developed when caregivers are consistently responsive and nurturing. Adults with secure attachment generally feel comfortable with intimacy and trust in relationships. Anxious attachment, formed when caregivers are inconsistent, sometimes nurturing, sometimes distant. Adults with anxious attachment often fear abandonment and may become overly dependent on their partners. Avoidant attachment, resulting from emotionally unavailable caregivers. This style leads adults to value independence over closeness, often avoiding emotional intimacy. Disorganized attachment arises from caregivers who are a source of both comfort and fear, such as in cases of abuse. Adults with this style may exhibit unpredictable behaviors, struggling to trust or maintain stability in relationships. Trauma during childhood often results in anxious, avoidant, or disorganized attachment styles. These patterns can influence how we communicate, express emotions, and handle conflict in our adult relationships. Trauma survivors often face specific challenges in their adult relationships. Let's explore some of the most common issues: fear of abandonment or rejection. Children who experience neglect or inconsistent caregiving may develop a deep-seated fear of being abandoned. As adults, this fear can manifest as clinginess, jealousy, or constant reassurance seeking in relationships, difficulty trusting others. Trauma can teach children that the world is unsafe and people are unreliable. This mistrust often carries into adulthood, making it hard to open up or rely on others. Emotional dysregulation. Childhood trauma can disrupt the ability to manage emotions. As adults, survivors may struggle with intense emotional reactions, mood swings, or difficulty calming down after conflict, avoidance of intimacy. For those with avoidant attachment, intimacy may feel overwhelming or threatening. They might keep partners at arm's length to avoid vulnerability. Recreating traumatic dynamics. Unresolved trauma often leads to repeating patterns. For example, someone who grew up in a chaotic household might unconsciously seek out similarly chaotic relationships because it feels familiar, even if unhealthy. Low self-worth. Trauma can leave survivors feeling unworthy of love and respect. This belief might lead to tolerating toxic behaviors or struggling to assert personal boundaries. Healthy communication is the foundation of any strong relationship, but childhood trauma can distort how we express ourselves and understand others. Here are some common ways trauma impacts communication. Overreacting to perceived criticism. A history of emotional neglect or criticism can make survivors hypersensitive to feedback. Even constructive criticism may feel like an attack, leading to defensive or explosive reactions. Struggling to express needs. Trauma often teaches children that their needs don't matter. As adults, they may struggle to voice their desires or preferences, fearing rejection or conflict. Passive aggressiveness. Instead of directly addressing issues, trauma survivors might resort to passive aggressive behaviors. This stems from a fear of confrontation and an inability to express emotions openly. Fear of conflict. Trauma can make conflict feel dangerous. Some survivors avoid disagreements altogether, even at the cost of their own happiness or authenticity. The effects of childhood trauma can be profound, but they are not irreversible. Healing is a journey, and with the right tools and support, it is possible to build healthy, fulfilling relationships. Here's how. Seek therapy. Working with a therapist can help uncover and process unresolved trauma. Modalities like cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and internal family systems are particularly effective for trauma healing. Develop self-awareness. Understanding your triggers, attachment style, and patterns is crucial. Journaling, meditation, or self-help books on trauma and relationships can foster this awareness. Learn healthy communication skills. Practice expressing your needs and feelings in a calm, assertive way. Active listening, really hearing and validating your partner's perspective is equally important. Establish boundaries. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships. Learn to say no. Prioritize your well-being and set limits on behaviors you won't tolerate. Cultivate self-compassion. Trauma often leaves survivors feeling ashamed or unworthy. Practice self-compassion by treating yourself with kindness, patience, and understanding. Build a support system. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Healing often requires connection, whether with friends, family, or support groups. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques can help regulate emotions and reduce anxiety. Simple practices like deep breathing or grounding exercises can make a big difference in moments of distress. Reparent yourself. Reparenting involves giving yourself the care and validation you may have missed as a child. This can include affirming your feelings, nurturing your inner child, and celebrating your growth. While healing is ultimately your responsibility, a supportive partner can make a huge difference. Here are some ways partners can help. Be patient. Healing takes time and setbacks are normal. A patient partner can provide the stability needed to work through challenges. Offer reassurance. Trauma survivors often need extra reassurance of love and commitment. Small, consistent gestures of support can build trust over time. Respect boundaries. Healthy relationships require mutual respect. A good partner will honor your boundaries and encourage your growth. Encourage growth. Celebrate each step forward, no matter how small. A supportive partner fosters an environment where healing feels safe. Childhood trauma can cast a long shadow, but it doesn't have to define your future. By understanding its impact, seeking healing, and fostering healthy relationships, you can break free from the patterns of the past and build a brighter, more connected future. Thank you for joining me today. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, healing is a journey, not a destination. Take it one step at a time. See you next time.